Welcome to the second video in our pre-banking internship module, where we will discuss how to use Handshake to find freshman and sophomore internships. Handshake is one of the best ways to search for early college internships. Handshake is a software that posts a solid amount of off-cycle remote internships that you can complete before IB recruitment begins. While some internships are targeted at certain grade levels on Handshake, many of these internships don't care if you're a freshman or sophomore, which is great for us. Looking at the slide, the key things we're going to look at on Handshake are what filters we can use, what search criteria we should use, and the qualifications of each job. So, with these three key features in mind, let's hop over to Handshake and see how this works. Okay, so as you can see, we are on the Handshake homepage, and let's go ahead and on the left navigate over to the Jobs tab. Now, out of our three key features, right now we're going to focus on the filters. So in the top right, let's click on All Filters. First is Job Type. For job type, we're interested in internships, so go ahead and click that. Next is paid or unpaid. And if you don't need a paid internship, I would leave this blank so you can look at both options. But if you really do need a paid internship, go ahead and click this. For now, we're going to leave this unclicked. None of this is important, and then we come to on-site or remote. Now, if you're looking at any opportunity that you can find, you can leave this blank and have both pop up. But if you do need a remote internship that you can complete during the semester, go ahead and click remote. For now, we're going to leave this unclicked. We do not recommend clicking any of these because if you click finance, some employers won't put on here that their job is actually a finance role, so you're going to lose out on some jobs you would actually be interested in. So don't worry too much about this. And honestly, most of their things in here are going to be pretty useless. Not helpful, this isn't helpful. None of this stuff seems to be very helpful to us. And now, a common mistake, don't click match all qualifications because we still want to apply to some jobs that we don't match all the qualifications for. So really the only important ones are internship, paid or unpaid if that applies to you, and remote or hybrid if this applies to you. So let's click show all results. Okay, so now that we've gone through all of our filters, let's focus on our search criteria over here. For this search, we're using filters of an internship and remote. So getting back to our search criteria, the first thing we want to search for is private equity, as this is very applicable to investment banking. And you can see down here, these are the filters that we're using. So remote and internship that we saw up here. So when we search for private equity, we can see that we get a decent amount of results. It's actually 2 pages long, and we can go through and look at all of these and see if they're applicable to us. Now, some other common things we should search for are venture capital, search funds, M&A, and investment banking. Let's just click on search funds. These will return a lot of different results that we can look through, kind of sift through, and apply to the ones that we think are very relevant to us or that may be a good fit for us. Now, along with these search criteria, we can also add spring or fall. So if we're looking at private equity, we might also add fall if we're looking for a fall internship. Nothing pops up here, but you can also try it with spring and different things like that. But on this one, we can see that they do have the summer distinction. Or we might try venture capital, spring. And this didn't really give us any great results, but sometimes these can give us more specific results that are better for us. So you might as well try it. Okay. So the reason that we look for private equity, venture capital, and search funds is that these are 3 industries that are very relevant to investment banking, and they also hire a decent amount of freshman and sophomore interns. So that's why we really focus on these. They're pretty relevant to banking, and they hire a good amount of interns. Now, the reason that we also search for investment banking and M&A is that there are smaller firms that focus on these 2 things that are also looking for interns. So if we can find a firm that's focused on M&A or some other investment banking function, we can apply to these internships and help these smaller firms with something that is super relevant to banking. So this is very useful. This does happen less often than these 3, but it's still useful to look for. Now, if you end up going through all of the search criteria that we covered and still haven't found enough internships to apply to, you can either leave this blank, type in something basic like finance internships, something like that, or go through the filters and click finance or accounting and just look for things that are generally finance related and aren't super related to banking. That's totally fine. It's better to find a finance internship that might not be perfectly related to banking rather than trying to find the perfect internship and never getting one. Okay, so now that we know how to use the filters on Handshake and we know what to search for in the search criteria function, let's focus on a few different past opportunities that we sourced from mid November and look at the different qualifications of each and kind of see what's desirable and what's undesirable. So let's jump into it. Using the filters and the search criteria that we spoke about earlier, this is the first opportunity that we found in mid November. As you can see, this is with Zenith Wealth Partners, and it seems to be a wealth management firm, which isn't exactly related to banking, but we should still definitely apply since it is a finance firm. Along with this, we can see that this is a remote internship, which is perfect for us. Now, looking at the qualifications, we don't care too much about these, but what we do care about is the GPA and the school year. So we can see that they're looking for someone with a GPA above 3.5, and they're looking for someone who's a junior or sophomore. So if you're a sophomore, this would be a great position to apply for. Now, the second opportunity that we found is a private equity internship at Portola Growth Partners. And as you can see, this one's actually a winternship. It's unpaid and it's remote, which is great. And up here, we can see that the duration is from December to January, so a winternship, and it's about a 30-hour per week commitment, which shouldn't be a problem since we're not in school during this period. Now, the next opportunity that we found is a private equity summer internship at GemSpring Capital. This position seems to be paid, and it also seems that you'll be 1 or 2 days in the office and 1 or 2 days working from home. So you could balance this position with some networking as well, which is super desirable. Looking at some of the qualifications, these aren't too important, but we can see that they're looking for freshmen, sophomores, or juniors. So if you're a freshman or sophomore, this is really a great position to apply to. And looking at another qualification, we can see that their GPA qualification is actually quite low. This is a great position. The next opportunity that we found is an internship at a search fund. While this one was posted 3 months ago, we sourced this in November, so if you found this in August, this would have been a great position to have during the fall semester. As you can see, it's a remote internship that's part-time, so you could have completed this during the semester while doing classes and lightly networking. This internship would have set you up perfectly whether you're a freshman or a sophomore interested in banking. Now that we know how to find Handshake positions, what should we do after we apply to them? After applying to a position, you should immediately reach out to someone on the team and try to network with them. Reaching out to network will do 2 things. First, networking after you apply will allow you to understand the firm and the people who work there better. This will hopefully help you during a potential interview with the firm. Second, most students will just cold apply to internships and wonder why they never get interviews. You need to show that you are genuinely interested by taking some initiative and reaching out to learn more about the position and their firm. This will really set you apart from most students who simply apply to hundreds of positions without making an effort to network. Firms will be pleasantly surprised that you're networking for a freshman or sophomore internship and will be more helpful because of it. While most students understand that networking sets them apart for junior year banking internships, they don't apply the same logic to freshman and sophomore internships. However, the same principles apply. So make sure to network even though it's a non-IB internship. Networking is important for any internship or opportunity that you apply for, not just for investment banking. As a bonus to this lesson, we have attached 2 email templates that you can use after you apply. Send the email to someone senior at the firm initially and work down the ranks from there. Try to connect with a few different people at the firm if possible. Say 2 to 3 if it's a small firm. Use all of the networking skills that you gain in the next few modules and apply them to this. We have also attached a bonus to this lesson that will help you prepare for interviews that you receive through Handshake, so check that out as well. Even if an internship posting is targeting sophomores and up, we still think it's not a bad idea for freshmen to apply. While firms do not usually target freshman students, they may not care if you are a freshman. The worst that can happen is you aren't picked for the position. Now, maybe don't spend a bunch of time networking for a position that says they want sophomores and up, but still apply. As a freshman or sophomore student, really focus on search funds, as these firms are the most likely not to mind that you're a freshman or sophomore. Search funds usually don't mind because they're most likely unpaid, which means that it's harder to convince sophomores and especially juniors to apply. Also, most of the work you complete is pretty basic and doesn't require you to have a deep understanding of finance. However, for your freshman summer internship, you should still focus on search funds, but also apply to private equity firms and other finance postings on Handshake, even if they don't list freshmen as their desired candidates. As a sophomore, most of the same rules still hold. Apply to anything and everything that is remotely relevant to IB and to finance as well. It can be hard to secure internships in your first 2 years of college, so quantity of applications is very important. It's unrealistic to expect an internship after applying to, say, 30 internships or less. You should apply to every internship you can that's relevant to banking. More emails means more applications, which means that you have a better chance of landing an internship. Okay, some final thoughts about using Handshake. Handshake is one of the best tools to use to find freshman and sophomore internships. It is very important that you stay on top of Handshake postings so that you can apply and network immediately. The longer that an application is on Handshake, the more likely it is that they find someone to fill the position. Most off-cycle remote internships are pretty menial in terms of the work you still complete. Because of this, many firms will try to fill these positions as quickly as possible, rather than trying to find the most qualified candidate. So, apply and network immediately. Another reason that you need to stay on top of Handshake postings is that there really is no telling when new positions will be added. In November, when we sourced those opportunities, there were so many to choose from that we couldn't include them all in the video. However, at the time of making this video now in February, there seems to be very few opportunities from the searches we did. So, check Handshake often or set up notifications for new postings. Let's walk through how to do this now. Okay, so on the Handshake Jobs tab, we can go to set up our filters, and let's click Internship and Remote, and show results. Now, going to our search criteria, let's look for private equity. So we search for private equity, remote, and internship. Those are our filters. Okay, now if we click this button right here, we're telling Handshake that we want to receive similar opportunities like this in our email or be updated when opportunities like this are posted. And we can do this for all of the searches we've already done. So let's do search fund. And let's add that one too. And now if you go to the top right and click on your profile and click notification preferences, you can see that we'll get job alerts for these two searches that we made. So anytime something is posted that is similar to search fund internships or private equity internships, we'll receive an email from Handshake, which is super helpful. Now that we understand how to best use Handshake to find internship positions, let's move on to cold emails and learn the best practices for sending cold emails that get responses.